The sun stood high in the clear blue sky, pouring bright daylight over the cemetery, yet nothing about that moment felt warm or alive. A polished wooden coffin rested above an open grave, surrounded by silent luxury and frozen faces. Black suits, designer dresses, guarded expressions, and hidden impatience filled the air. This was not just a funeral. It was the farewell of billionaire heiress Arabella Cross, a woman the world believed was gone forever. Then suddenly, from the edge of the grave, a rough voice shattered the silence. A garbage collector in a faded orange uniform stepped forward, pointing with trembling hands, his eyes burning with certainty. Something was terribly wrong. Before this unbelievable moment, life had never been kind to Jonah Reed, the garbage collector. Every morning, under the same harsh daylight, he cleaned what others discarded, ignored by the rich streets he served. Yet Jonah possessed something money could never buy: attention to life. Earlier that day, while collecting waste behind the private hospital, he noticed a body being rushed out far too quickly. The woman's skin was not the color of death. Her chest moved so slightly it almost fooled the eye. Jonah had once lost his sister to a burial mistake years ago, and that trauma sharpened his instincts. When he later heard about Arabella's sudden death and saw the funeral procession pass through the streets, fear crawled up his spine. He followed it, driven not by courage, but by the unbearable weight of déjà vu. As mourners gathered, the billionaire family stood closest to the coffin, grief mixed with convenience. Arabella had been declared dead after collapsing mysteriously, her fortune already divided, her signature already used. Jonah pushed through the crowd, ignored, insulted, almost restrained. Still, he raised his voice, declaring she was not dead. The crowd reacted with shock and anger, offended that a man from the bottom dared interrupt the powerful. Yet Jonah's face held no madness, only desperation and truth. His shaking finger pointed toward the coffin as he pleaded for someone to check, for someone to listen. If you believe that kindness deserves a second chance and that every voice matters no matter how small, take a moment now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who believes in humanity, and subscribe to the channel Kindness Flow. Your support keeps real stories like this alive. After tense hesitation, a doctor reluctantly examined the body. Under the open daylight, surrounded by gasps and stunned silence, a faint pulse was found. Panic erupted. Arabella was alive, barely breathing, trapped in a coma induced by a rare reaction to medication. The billionaire family stood frozen, exposed. Ambulances rushed in, and the coffin that was meant to end a life became the symbol of its rescue. Jonah collapsed to his knees, overwhelmed, tears cutting through the dirt on his face. Days later, Arabella awoke. When she learned the truth, her world shattered. She had been declared dead too fast, not by accident but by convenience. Her trusted inner circle had rushed the burial to seize control of her empire. But one man, a stranger who owned nothing, had given her everything back. She asked to meet Jonah in the hospital garden under the same bright sun that once lit her funeral. He stood awkwardly, still smelling of work, unsure why a billionaire would want to see him. Arabella held his hands and cried openly, thanking him not as a hero, but as a human being who cared. Arabella's recovery brought justice. Those responsible faced consequences, and her company transformed. She funded hospitals, changed emergency protocols, and created foundations to protect vulnerable patients. Jonah's life changed too, but not in the way people expected. He refused luxury. Instead, he was given dignity, a leadership role in a city-wide safety initiative, and something far more valuable than money: respect. Just before this story ends, take a moment to comment below one word that describes how this story made you feel. In the end, under the same daylight that once nearly witnessed a tragic mistake, Jonah returned to his work, and Arabella returned to life with open eyes. The world kept moving, rich and poor still divided, but one truth echoed louder than wealth or status. Sometimes the one who saves a life is the one society never notices. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and engage with this video. Your support helps spread stories that remind us all to look closer, care deeper, And never ignore the voice that dares to say, she's not dead.